Hi. Hi. I'm not on mute, am I? So hi everyone. This is Sue from FiveStones, and welcome to our data-driven marketing session. So thanks, Kenneth. You are able to hear me. Awesome. So before we begin this session, just a few light housekeeping notes. Despite the fact that everyone is in different locations and whatnot, just a few notes before we begin this session. First of all, please note that this session is going to be recorded. The decks and the recording for this session is going to be sent to all audiences after this event. Point number 2, I would appreciate it if everyone will mute their mics. We welcome, of course, discussion into this session, but I appreciate if you mute your mics and you put the questions that you have into the chat box, which is located in the upper right-hand corner of your Hangout screen. So towards the end of the session where we have a Q&A, the floor will basically be open and the speakers will address these questions at the Q&A session. We have someone who's already guilty and not muting their mic. Okay, so lastly, due to the COVID situation, right? Some of our speakers are taking this presentation from like a lockdown location. So excuse us for any informality. So if you hear a rooster crowing, if some child suddenly walks in at the back end of the presentation, if you see them on screen, just I'm sorry for all of that. It's a pandemic and we're all just hanging out in our own individual corners of the world. So, okay. So I'm just going to begin this session by first introducing the agenda. So the first part of this session is where we're going to be talking about data-driven marketing itself. Just going to be introduced to you a bit of the terminology, what it means, the frameworks, etc. We're then going to be segueing into why you should invest in creatives which are data-driven. So what's the proof of that? How will it then enrich your marketing strategy? And then I'm going to recap on the Google Marketing Platform and its solutions. The second half of the session is when we actually do the workshop session, just going to be done by my 2 other speakers. This is when we are going to be having demos into Display and Video 360 and demos into a more advanced creative workflow solution, which is Campaign Manager, Google Web Designer, and Studio. And then at the end of all that, a proper Q&A session. Before anything else though, let us first just introduce ourselves. So I'm Sue, Suhaila. Some of you have known me from previous meetings and whatnot. So this is a really accurate picture of me in my 40s. So I am actually based in Singapore and I'm the Senior Customer Success Manager. Our second speaker for today is Ramil, who is based in Manila. He's our team lead. And this is his first time I'm actually presenting, so have mercy on him. So Ramil, you want to say hi? Yo, Ramil.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so Ramil is the one who's going to be presenting from home. So you might hear a bit of background noise. You might hear a rooster crowing. So apologies on his behalf. He's laughing right now, but he knows what's up. And our last speaker for today is Lisa, who is based in Hong Kong. Say hi, Lisa.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. So Lisa is arguably our most technically experienced person in Southeast Asia. And her title is currently, as of now, the solutions lead of the platform division. So hello to all of you from Hong Kong, from Manila, and from Singapore. So before we actually begin the entire session, just forgive me for doing a little bit of a sales pitch so you understand who in the world that you are talking to during this presentation. So all of us, my army and I, were actually from FiveStones, also known as your next hopefully trusted EdTech partner. Our offices in Southeast Asia, right? We are located in Singapore, have an office in Jakarta, a full team down there, in Manila and in Bangkok, but my base is actually in Hong Kong. We're also what is known as a GMP Google Marketing Platform sales partner. What this means is that if you are interested in a certain GMP solution like DV360 or Campaign Manager, or you want to own such as 360, etc., you can actually come into contact with us, and depending on your needs, we can recommend solutions, a training package, or open up a self-serve account for you. Okay, so now please fasten your seatbelts, wash your hands, put on your mask. We're going to be beginning the session now. So what in the world is data-driven marketing? So to some, they might consider it a buzzword because they've heard it, read about it in articles, they've heard about it in tech talk, but there's still uncertainty as to what it actually is. For some others, though, they might consider it that this is something that FiveStones or me, Sohaila, actually wants to sell. I'm not going to argue that. That is sort of true. I do want to sell you all sorts of things, but only if they are beneficial to you. And for others, though, they are actually in this session because their boss forwarded them this calendar invite, forwarded them the event invite, and told them to attend this session. So I know who you are and you know who you are. So I hope your boss will ask of you what actually this session is about, and you can report accordingly to your boss what this session is actually about. So, to begin, right, data-driven marketing isn't actually something that is arguably new. So, for example, when we run campaigns, we do rely on qualitative data, like customer feedback via a site, via your social forums, or quantitative data like conversions taking place in an e-commerce site. So, such data, as much as possible, you should have or are already adopting in your current marketing strategies. Having said that, though, when you are reviewing your marketing frameworks, just assess where you are. Consider if you are a company who is more media-centric, or whether you are someone who is more tech-centric or data-centric, or at the last pinnacle stage, which is data-driven marketing stage. So what this all means is that you should review how your marketing strategies, your solutions are actually connected, and how they can actually incorporate data, whether manually, via existing tech tools that are connected, via external CRMs, or via inbuilt automated processes. And then towards the end of all that, right, review if your creatives at your strategy takes into account any form of data. So for example, does the creative, when it's tailored, when it's created to the end user, does it show a specific message for a specific geographic location, etc., etc. So such things, I think, no matter at which stage you are at, you can always consider within your framework. So with regards to these 4 phases, right, or 4 frameworks, this was actually concocted based on a study by Boston Consulting Group and by Google. I know some clients in the audience right now might be familiar with all this. So for today's session, I'm not actually going to go into too much details at what all of these specific frameworks are. If you want to know what they actually are, you can keep in touch with me, email me after this session, and I can present a more visually appealing deck as to which of these 4 frameworks are, what are the tools, and how you can, within that framework, build a strategy that is data-driven. I will, however, say, though, that every marketer's end goal should actually be the last stage, which is the pinnacle stage. It's also known as the multi-moment stage, which is actually about reaching the right customer with the right message at the right time. So there was a 2019 article by the Boston Consulting Group in partnership with Google. And this study was to understand a company's digital marketing maturity, that is, the nascent, the emerging, the connected, and the multi-moment. And this study was to actually understand what was the results of such companies who had implemented such suggested frameworks. So this study found, right, that companies who had achieved the pinnacle stage, which was the multi-moment stage, actually reported increased cost savings and increased revenue. So this might all sound really easy, like as if you can do it at the drop of the hat, but the reality is that brands and their agencies have to invest in technology that has the capability to do like the latest in automation, has to use platforms that have artificial intelligence, have to use platform with machine learning. So naturally for brands and agencies, it's going to be really overwhelming. So I would say, right, the main takeaway from like the first slide and this current slide is to review where you are at within your current framework, the tools that you have, the resources that you have, and go from there. And by the way, FiveStones is actually a tech partner, and we can teach you how to evolve within the stages that you are at. Okay, so just FYI. Okay, another interesting study that we've actually encountered is that from this October 2018 article, right? Interestingly, no APAC brand has actually achieved the multi-moment stage. So audiences in the room right now or within your homes, if you are thinking, man, I am way too at the back end, I'm at nascent or I'm nowhere near that, just don't be too stressed out because you are actually not that far off the mark. So this study actually surveyed 30 brands across 7 industries from Southeast Asia and also including India and Hong Kong. It found that no brand has actually achieved the potential of multi-moment digital marketing within that region. You know, that is considered to be by the customer to be consistently delivering coordinated experiences across online and offline channels. However, just to echo again, Del, that I want you all to note that brands and their agencies who are slowly moving up their digital marketing maturity, right? They do similarly tend to record increased revenue while also lowering cost inefficiencies. So if you want to study where you are at today with regards to that 4 frameworks, I do record that post this session when we give you these slides, right? Do click here and take this digital maturity benchmark survey. Wow, that was not a mouthful at all. So within that survey, right, it will be able to gauge to you which of the 4 stages you are at. It's about a 30-minute survey. Technically, it's geared more towards brands. So that's why I would say that if you're a brand, take it with the agency that you are currently working closely with. So take this survey. It will relate to you if you are nascent, if you are emerging, etc., etc. With that sort of results, you can come back to a tech partner like us. And then I can work with you to build whether you need to implement, as an example, a GMP solution, or whether you need to have a training session where we can work within the current tools that you have and teach you how to connect the dots, like have the data and your tools being spoken to each other and how to make such things automated if possible. So I do encourage you to take that survey, and then if you want to, please consider working with a partner like us so we can teach you what to do with the results of such a survey. Okay, the second half of this session is geared more towards data-driven creative. So now some questions that might come across your mind is, okay, this sounds all good and whatnot, but how would data-driven creatives actually look like then? And then the second part of it would be, why in the world should you adopt it? So before we go into all of that, I just want to, in a nutshell, describe to you what is the definition of data-driven creatives, or DDC. So DDC are creatives which are developed to utilize data signals. So data signals could be like geography, audience type, and media environment. And then DDC are also creatives which are developed to have content in these creatives change dynamically according to these data signals. So as an example, you are like a bank company. You have 2 types of customers, one who use credit card A and one who use credit card B. When you are developing a creative to them, you don't want those who use credit card A to actually be seeing messages and content that is for those who are within the category of credit card B. Does this make sense? Okay, so I have a better visually appealing example. This is a case study by Adidas who actually used data, but specifically match data for their creatives. This case study is involving the agency partner iProspect and also involving tech partner Google. So they actually developed a creative which pulled data from an API and presented match data to the end user. Their objective for this campaign was actually to overcome banner blindness, and the way to do that was to develop highly targeted and personalized display ads. So in this sample storyboard here, right, what the end user actually saw was their favorite football player being displayed, a specific Adidas headline, and the match score pulled from the API, basically live match scores from an ongoing match. So just an added footnote here, I'm not really a football person. I really don't know whether there really was a Germany France 1-0 kind of match. So if someone out there is like really furious and angry and like going to be like, I'm going to fill in a feedback form because there really was no Germany France 1-0 match, I really don't know. Just consider that this is a sample storyboard and just focus on the fact that for Adidas, right, they and their agency and their other collaborators, they managed to devise 300 creative dimensions for this campaign. And the end results was that they managed to achieve 1.7 times increased higher viewability rate as compared to the industry benchmark, a higher hover rate, and an increased click-through rate as compared to the brand's past campaigns. So focus on all that and not on the fact that there was no France-Germany match which resulted in 1-0. Okay, so let's take a bit of a breather if anyone is angry and furious. So now we're going to be going into specific tools that you could use if, let's say, you are investing and thinking about your next data-driven creative strategy. So let me just introduce to you some tools from the Google Marketing Platform. So in the GMP stack itself, right, there are a lot of solutions like the search engine management solution, tag management solutions, analytics solutions, and reporting and optimization solutions. But for today, we're not going to be focusing on all that. We're going to be focusing on Display Video 360, CM, and also Studio. So what is Studio and what is Display and Video 360? So Studio is actually one of the original dynamic creative tool. I would say that it's more feed-based and non-visual, and it's more popularly used by those who have developer and coding skills. Studio is actually a free solution. You can sign up for it if you want to and just play around with it after this session. Display and Video 360 though is a demand-side platform. However, even though it's a demand-side platform, right, the beauty of it is that within the platform, it actually has creative building functionalities. And for this creative building functionalities, they have specific DDC templates, which if you have a team member or resources, they don't have developer skills, that's all right. They can still develop DDCs inside the DSP itself. So now, before I introduce you to the next workshop session, just a few points that I hope you will consider, because these are what I hope that you will take away from. So first of all, understand that there are two ways of setting up data-driven creatives via the Google Marketing Platform. So, and also know and understand that within Display and Video 360, right, there is a way for you to collaborate with your other team members and also create DDCs via a singular platform itself. And lastly, I hope that at the end of the overall workshop session, you will understand basically the workflows to create a DDC, which is from Studio, and then to traffic your creative ads in Campaign Manager, which is the third-party ad serving platform, or using the DSP, which is Display and Video 360. Okay. Because I want you to be able to keep up with us, we are going to be introduce a hypothetical brand when we storytell to you how to visualize yourself using this solution series. So picture yourself as a hypothetical company called Blue Wave Sportswear. So Blue Wave Sportswear is a new company. They are mainly based in Southeast Asia. They are an online brand and their markets are all within Southeast Asia. And one of Blue Wave Sportswear goals, right, for their upcoming campaign is to raise their overall brand awareness, because They're a young company, they're about 1 to 2 years old. One of the problems, though, is that they spend a lot of resource and time to work with their agencies and within themselves and with their local managers to develop creatives and get it approved and have it tailored across to all of these specific languages and whatnot. So one of the key questions that Blue Wave has raised to their agencies is how in the world am I going to save time and save money, because I really don't have the time to approve all these creatives. I really don't have the time to create so many creatives and whatnot. So how can you actually get me to save time and money? So we as an agency, tech agency to them, are going to be suggesting to them to invest in data-driven creatives. And we're going to be suggesting to them to invest via two platforms or two ways, basically. So it really depends on Blue Wave's needs and their resources. And now I'm going to be handing off to our next speaker, Ramil. So Ramil, over to you.
The earlier session, we understand that this is at changing times for marketers and advertisers to look for innovative and efficient ways to reach their customers through data-driven creative. So advertisers and brands can further make use of different data signals to send different creative message and tailor that to their right audiences at the right time. And this can be also addressed using different products within the Google Marketing Platform stack. So there was a new development and launch for the past few years for DV360, which is called the Data-Driven Creatives in DV360. So this new update allows you to visually build your creatives from pre-selected template, and under Format Gallery and within Ad Canvas, you can apply different strategy using data signals and create a personalized message for your campaign. So this option, like what Sue mentioned, favors for those who are not too keen or equipped with coding skills to build data-driven creatives, as it's more visual in nature and can easily swap creatives on the go. Should you wish to learn more about creating a more impactful EDC using other GMP stack, kindly stay tuned as my teammate Lisa will cover that on her end. So why DDC on DV360? So DV360 for marketers or DDC for DV360 is that marketers can be helped by effectively creating different variants of the ad. It brings a lot of creative efficiencies. You are able to create this type of ad by simply swapping elements using custom or use of standard templates available in the platform. So this means that you can also create and manage ads at scale and can easily activate and apply it to your campaign in a single workflow. With this, it also enables to be able to undertake more creative testing. So with different versions of the ad, you can actually take a look and test to different strategies for your campaign. So mixing that with different environments, you can have a look and feel which type of creative can work within your targeting. So creative agencies can make use of this type to do A/B tests for their creative copy. So for example, within the first week of the campaign, you can make use of this type of creative testing to see and look what is actually working and get insights and optimize your campaign based on the data. So with creative testing, you can get a deeper understanding on what message is actually working for your user. Within the seamless workflow in DV360, it also allows you to combine different type of strategies to come up with a personalized creative for your user. You can use different data signal and custom message your campaign to deliver for the right audience based on their interest, buying intent, in which they are receiving the ad. So using the Blue Wave as an example, most brands or marketing teams work directly with the agencies who offer full service stack that can include creative ideation, down to media activation, in which normally it is housed within a single team. In this example of Blue Wave, the marketer takes advantage on communicating directly with the agency. So the agency, on the other hand, can work within themselves to a seamless workflow wherein they can work with the creative team down to their agency trading team. So the creative agency or creative team members can create dynamic ads on the go by simply swapping creative elements, and the media teams can create more strategy and make use of the DSP as a platform, not just to plan, but also create dynamic ads and get more insights on how they can make use of that for succeeding campaigns.
Sorry to interrupt. For anyone who is unable to see Ramil's screen, just click on the upper right hand. If you see the number 58 with people, click on that, let it drop down, and then click to Ramil presentation. Okay, thank you very much.
So within the ad format gallery, you can browse through different creative for your needs. So there are four type of creative types that you can choose for your campaign. So your format ad gallery is your one-stop shop on creative suite within DB360. So there are four types of creatives that you can choose from: high impact format ads, data driven creative ads and responsive ads, native, and other format. Each creative type caters to the type of objectives you want to achieve on your campaign. Please do note that responsive data-driven creatives ad is mostly applied for display ad format available for your desktop and mobile campaign needs. So overall, there are 13 ad formats within ad format gallery you can choose from for your display, mobile, app install, video, and creative needs. There are three pre-made data-driven creative templates that you can choose as a starter. So here, there are the following list: the panorama, cue card, and the blank slate. So panorama, you can make use of this ad format to feature your top three products for your awareness campaign. So Blue Wave can actually make use of this type of material to showcase their top three products for targeting to different locations within the Southeast Asia. So the animation is a carousel format that um, rotates horizontally within the three frame part. So cue card, on the other hand, you can simply create a visual story flow for your audience within three frame using a single background and logo for your material. Blank slate, on the other hand, in which you can create a customized template used coming from the Google Web Design. So here you can see the animation and also the specs for the material needed. So there are two areas on creating DDC on DV360. So first things first, in the ad canvas visual creative builder. So this act as a dashboard wherein you can visually drag and drop creatives and elements for the campaign. So from the creative side and also from the agency side, given that they don't know or they don't have much capability on the programming stack, they can easily swap creative elements for it to have a more understanding and better ad serving for their customers. And also, coming from the dynamic rules within DV360, you can create a more personalized creatives and make use of those data signals available in which you can apply your creatives with. There are four steps on creating data-driven campaign. So first things first, you can make use of Google Web Designer. So Google Web Designer is a free web tool in which the agency or the creative agency can use to create custom template for different ad formats available from the gallery. So the creative or the production company can make use of this to select the free pre-made custom template within the Google Web Designer. And also, they can also create, coming from the blank slate, to create a custom template that they can choose and push to the DV360 platform to activate. So they can make use of different data schema wherein they can mix different creative elements to create a more impactful dynamic campaign wherein they can mix also with the different audience or data signals for that. They can also create, or you can also create DDC ad variants on DV360. So if, like what I mentioned, you don't know much about developing or creating dynamic creative ads from scratch, you can go to the ad format gallery and you can create or select one of the pre-made dynamic template there. And the agency can make use of this to create dynamic ads with a click of a button. And also preview changes on a real-time level. So the maximum variant that you can do for here is around 200 versions. So the drag and drop functionality makes it easy to experiment from the creative side or the message of the material. Not to mention, you can also create dynamic rules within DV360. So the dynamic rules, you can make use of different audience signals that you can have and create different strategies from that to apply for your campaign. And lastly, you can assign your creatives or creative versions to those variants that you created. Within Google Web Designer, you can select pre-made dynamic template in which you can export to DV360. Or also you can create a customized dynamic version of that from the blank slate. You can use of the elements like the image assets, text assets, call to action, background, color, font color, landing URL to create a customized template that you can simply swap within your DTC campaign on DB360. So you can see here a download link. So it's actually a free version. You can click on the link, download it, and see it and play around with it. So going now back to the brief. So basically, Blue Wave concern is that they are a new market in in the region. So they wanted to create an impactful campaign to Southeast Asia. And it seems that they're looking into creating awareness to the top three main markets, specifically Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia, and introduce their exclusive offers for the market. So they also want to make use of programmatic campaign to reach for their audience. So their main concern, like what Sue mentioned coming from the brief, is how they can address efficiency and save time on and money on creating DDC ads or creating multiple ad version, as it's really can be time consuming and a lot of manpower is involved on creating multiple ad versions and also approvals from the brand. And it could take quite a while for them to see and also approve and launch the campaign on the fly. So in this demo, I'll give you how we can provide a solution using um, the demo for this. So within the ad format gallery, you can see here the different ad formats available for the campaign. So for we can select Q card as an example to create a dynamic ad format to address the needs of Blue Wave. You can simply click on create button and it will open now to the canvas or to the ad canvas rather. So here on the ad canvas, you can easily see how you can solve the first problem of Blue Wave on creating multiple ad version. So there are around several ad sizes that you can select here. So for this example, I'll just select three. And within the different ad sizes, I can make use to serve my campaign to desktop and mobile environment. Okay, so jumping now to the example coming from the Blue Wave. So I created an example here coming from the ad canvas for the cue card. So as you can see, I was able to create several versions for this campaign. First version, I was able to create for Singapore by using the three ad sizes. And I initially can create or adjust the assets as it goes. So I can select here and I can do the adjustment on my materials. So I can adjust on the title, the landing page, the font color, and the style of my text copy. Also, apart from this, I can create several versions if I want to do bulk edit. So given for this brief, I also want to create one for Thailand. I can simply go to the list view and simply select a variant and select um, make a copy. So I have here my copy point in which I can easily cut, copy and paste and apply it on the fly. So I can do adjustments on my copy point here down to the landing URL. And then I can apply dynamic rules for my creatives. So within the dynamic rules, like what I mentioned earlier, this is where now you can create priority groups and make use of your data signals to create cluster of materials to serve for your audiences. So within this one, like for example, for the Singapore market, um, I can easily apply several types of first party or third party audiences for my campaign. So I can select different kinds of apparel related for the affinity market, which I can make use also of the location as a signal for this creative version. So once done, you can easily save this as a draft. So you can also um, provide a demo link to the advertiser or to the client by simply hovering here, the preview link button. So there's a button here wherein you can easily copy and paste the link and send it to the marketer for an ease of approval for their material. So imagine that you can work within DV360 not just from the planning stage, but also from designing of creatives and pushing the campaign to a specific line item. So you may ask, what data can I be able to see when I create several variants within the ad canvas part? So this part, you can pull a standard report and just add your variant name or variant ID. So it is really best practice to include in labels for your creative versions. This also gives you an easier insights on what creative actually worked and not, and create a more personalized version for your campaign using different data signals and different creative clusters for your campaign. So in summary, it's efficient and saves time on creating DDC using DV360. It's faster collaboration and activations for the team. So it's really saving time because you are working in a seamless workflow coming from the marketer to the agency side. So each party can have their own access for creating and working simultaneously for that particular campaign. So given that this option works for those without having an in-depth developer skills as well, you can maximize the use of the pre-made DDC template wherein you can make use of the likes of Panorama, Cue Card, and Blank Slate to create your DDC campaign. Should you wish to have more customized template, you can simply make use of the Google Web Designer function and integrate your customized template for that and push that to DV360 wherein you can make use of the data schema and do a dynamic binding within the different data signals for your or available within the platform. And finally, you can get insights for your personalized campaign strategy by including variant ad for your standard reports. You can gauge from the standard metrics like impressions, clicks, CTR, or conversions, which message actually will work for your campaign. So now I'm handling you to Lisa to discuss more of the exciting part about how you get data-driven creatives using Studio. Over to you now, Lisa.
Okay, thank you so much, Romeo. Hope everyone can see my screen now. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa, the solution lead at FiveStones. I'm very excited to be here today and to have the opportunity to show you how to get started with DDC via Studio. So just now, Romeo did a very great job introducing our audiences of the format gallery, which is the lowest hanging fruit that all the marketers who own a DV360 account can start building the DDC. It comes with few high impact and DDC templates, a really super duper creative building tool, which we are going to move on from there. So Studio. So it is a separate creative platform, which is known as a dynamic creative offering tool. It has been around for many years from double-click era. In the essence, there are 3 components to build a DDC file Studio. So you will need Studio, of course, and then a data feed, and an HTML5 creative. So all variants are data feed based. They are non-visual while you are building it. So lots of people having the misconception of Studio, thinking it is an offering tool like GWD to build the creatives. But Studio is actually a tool that creative agencies can use to make the rich media creative. It helps you to manage the complexity of creating rich media. And it is an end-to-end system to create, to preview, to test the rich media creatives. So you may ask, what is a rich media? So rich media actually contains the images or the videos and encourages the viewers to actually interact beyond a simple click. It usually can expand. It can play high definition videos. It can let you interact with it by tweeting it or shop or play games. The purpose of using Studio is that it is a content management system for rich media ads and creative assets. Easily to manage your dynamic workflow, dynamic data, and dynamic strategy. You can manage for your data-driven creative strategies with rich media creatives. So Studio is definitely for rich media units creators, the designers, the strategists owning the dynamic workflow, for media traffickers and brand owners to review the DDC with dynamic rules. It is absolutely benefiting for the creative agencies, brands, media agencies to unify suite to manage and integrate rich media and dynamic strategies with CM and DV360. It offers powerful rich media formats for brand and performance campaigns, and it comes with preview and validating tools for creative strategies review. So what is the creative solution process? So Studio, as a workflow management and custom dynamic creative system, it actually sits in the middle, joining your creative side of platforms like GWD, Assets Library with your media buying. All your creative assets can be uploaded and host in Studio, while at the same time, you may use the GWD, an authoring tool for creative design and for dynamic data binding. So this is the place where the code happens. Studio then collects, label, and upload the creative and set the creative strategy in the Studio profile. After the dynamic creative are validated by the quality assessment team in Google, it will then push over to Campaign Manager for trafficking, which can serve to other media or publisher inventories. And of course, we can pass the dynamic creative to DV360 or third-party DSP for programmatic media buying. So I would say that the dynamic setup in Studio requires an understanding of HTML code. Therefore, it is best suited to the developers. It really depends on how skilled the creative agency is, and that will have a significant impact on ease of setup and the quality of ads. So the idea of using dynamic creative is that it takes in the data signals to dynamically serve the ads out to the right audiences, right? So the marketers need to choose the right dynamic campaign strategies that will help you to connect the right messages with the right audiences and send them with the right messages at the right time. So in a nutshell, you can do 4 types of dynamic strategies. First, you can do the schedule update strategy, which is also available in DV360. So you marketers or advertisers can set the schedule for when different content display in the ad. So using the dynamic creative, the ad can be updated automatically by changing the date parameters. So the creative content can be tailored to your business seasons and time sensitivity, resulting in increased relevancy on every impression and efficient creative development and management. Secondly, you can actually consider to reach people in their geolocations to increase the ad relevancy by selecting the creative content to show based on the viewer's geographic locations, like on their regional level, province level, country level, or at the city level. A typical use case for this strategy would be if you want to change the ad copy's language by the geolocation, then you can just change that in the data feed. Another way you can do to target the audience by location is through the proximity targeting rule. So you can show a specific offers or products to people that are close to that location. So a really typical use case for this is if you want to advertise for a retail brand that they have many physical store locations and they are doing a time limit offer. So like buy one, get one free for sports apparel. Then you can set the rules to be like 1 km radius in that store area, and people will get your dynamic creative messaging saying buy one, get one free in that particular store address. Or thirdly, you can think about reaching the right audiences for your data-driven marketing campaign. So remarketing is one of the really popular strategy that ties the user-specific actions on the advertiser site back to the creative. So for example, if someone searches on a travel site for a flight from San Francisco to Washington, then the app will show that person an offer for San Francisco to Washington flight. Or another use case would be the dynamic creative can target content using CM or DV360 audience list, and can be from your for-like audiences or first-party DMP audiences or GA360. The fourth dynamic strategies you can use is that you can use the campaign manager attributes. So we have different IDs, like the placement IDs, the creative ID, the site ID, the campaign ID, to dynamically update the ads based on the specifics of each impression so that you can tailor your impressions to match with your media buy. So for example, Blue Wave sportswear ad can display different content depending on which site the ad is going to serve. So for football sports news, it will show football shoes. If it is exercise-related site, then you can show a generic messaging saying it is for branding and we are newly launching SEA, come to our site. Or you can actually select the right creative messaging with the DV360 ID where the creative is surfing in. So the strategy will make sure that the creative content will match with your DV line ID targeting. So you can take advantage of this feature. Your media buying partner can assign your dynamic creative to many different line items and enable each row of the feed or your variants will only serve when the line ID match with that row, and it will win that impression. So in this session, we're gonna think about when should I use the ad canvas or when should I use the studio? So we have a few scenarios where you should think about a bit more when you should use the studio, and hopefully it can trigger a few things in your mind. Okay, so this is the time that probably I should get started with DV, or that is the time where I should use studio. So take a look at this case study, Disneyland Hong Kong. So if you're somebody thinking about your marketing strategy and you decided to use DVC and for different variants that you want to use, suddenly when you bring out different creative copies and you will have over 300 of them to make it valuable. If you need to create the amount of creative via the ad canvas, you could probably get a bit crazy and a bit manual. So this is where we would recommend you to use Studio because it can be more scalable and a bit faster for you to execute. It is not necessary for Disneyland to serve out the creatives in DV360. So Disneyland Hong Kong also do different media buying with different local publishers and use the CM for ad serving, tracking, reporting, and attribution. From time to time, Disneyland will have different themes for promotion constantly changing. Say a few years ago, they had this Hong Kong Disneyland Magic Access Annual Pass display campaign to target the young adults and families audiences to subscribe. They're using the Studio DVC to create dozens of creative variants for each audience segments by using the CMID. So take the CMID as a matching key so that Disneyland only need to put that in the CM and DVC variant, and they can tailor-make the creative contents for each of the publisher content or to target to different group of audiences. So as you can see from the screen, the young adults and the families are actually using the same set of creative templates. The frame 1 and frame 4 are exactly the same. The content can actually be dynamically changes. The frame 2 and frame 3 is where the different group of audiences and the messages would change. So you can see the text is different, the background images is different. So it's actually targeted to different group of people where they feel more interested in, like the young adults that may be more interested in the more exciting games or the part of the park equipment or the facilities may be more attractive to them. Or for families, it will show the background images with the family. They're eating happily, celebrating the birthday together. So it can draw more relevancy to the right audience group. Or you can think about another scenario, is that you want to be more innovative and ingest the data from external data source for the creative informing. Like you want to inject that kind of weather or real-time live event data into your creative for the informing. So what you can do, maybe you can take a look at the Dyson case study. So Dyson has this new Dyson Air Purifier product, and they want to promote this with the air pollution index. So we use the Studio for the dynamic workflow to get the data feed to crawl the air quality health index site in Hong Kong, to get the daily health risk index to inform the banner for content changes. So the banner will show the current AQHR level with the index color changes according to the AQHR level to increase the relevancy between the product and the real-life application. Or in another scenario, this is a really popular one. So let's say you really care about the retargeting. Within that retargeting strategy, you don't just want to retarget someone just visit your site with a general message saying, oh, look, here we have this kind of offers. You want to be more addressable and give them back the creative that resonates of what they have actually engaged on your site. So this is often referred to as dynamic creative. So if you want to do that, you will have to leverage different signals to come back through your feed. And at the end, bring it back to the studio and add those different data points to influence the creative. So for Chow Sun Sang, a really popular jewelry brand originating from Hong Kong, they want to send the related messages to visitors who viewed on their product. So they have decided on the dynamic strategy of dynamic remarketing. So going to show 4 last viewed products in studio remarketing list, which the data is collected through the for-like tags and custom for-like variables. And the studio will match the 4 last viewed products with the product XML feed. So this is what the e-commerce client usually have. And we use that to display the corresponding product name, the product, the price, or the discounted price, if any. And then to show that in the creative content. And the studio actually is capable of fetching the latest data for up to 12 times a day, so that the visitors can view the really latest viewed products and to encourage the online purchases. So we can actually define multiple dynamic elements, what we call it, like in circles 1. So we can have the product images, the product name, the price, the CTA, even the background images that we can actually make it dynamic. So you can see actually helps Chow Sun Sang to update the creative for different holidays and sales events, like the Cyber Monday sale, or the free shipping promotions, or the single day sale. So all they need to do is to prepare the kind of fundamental assets, and they can just update it in studio and launch it immediately. So CSS did make a very good case study for data-driven marketing in cooperating with data-driven creative. The dynamic creative has brought them very good results of 52% conversion rate uplift, 38% drop in CPA, and their CPC is 5% lower than non-dynamic creative banners. So this is something definitely everyone should think about, like if you have those kind of first-party data, and don't waste them and start using it in your data-driven marketing campaign. Okay. So here comes with the last scenario, is when you want to use one template for 2 different creative formats. Is it possible to do? And if you can, then how can you do it? So we can take a look at global sources. So global sources is actually using the studio data feed to easily manage and control the creative formats, switching between images and a video background. Global Sources has a performance campaign to drive people to sign up for their trade shows. So like the electronic trade show, the lifestyle, or the Olympus trade show. They want to use 2 creative formats to attract the audience for sign up. So instead of building 2 sets of creative for image banner and video in banner, they were using one creative template to switch the assets, which has saved the creative production time and increased the effectiveness of creative updating and sending the right messages to the right audiences. Okay. So you have heard different scenarios and the use case of data-driven creatives via Studio. So hope you guys still remember Blue Wave Sportswear, our mock brief for the demo. So to recap, this brand is just launched in SEA in Singapore, Indonesia, and in Thailand. So they are selling the sports apparel, equipment, accessories. So they want to increase their brand awareness and exposure to let more people know about them and eventually drive the sales. So the challenges they are facing right now is they are feeling a bit running out of resources. They spend a lot of time creating different set of creative, trying to sell different products. So, and actually, eventually, they want to serve their campaign via DV360 for programmatic media buying. So for the digital brief, I believe they want to easily manage the personalized creative tailored to each of the country. And so like the Singapore audiences should be able to see the Singapore-related messaging and the background image to increase the relevancy. And so I've decided that the dynamic strategy for this demo maybe could be the dynamic strategy is based on the geolocation and based on the DV360 line ID. And the campaign objective is the brand awareness. Okay. So let's go straight to the demo. And let me quit this screen. Okay. So there are a couple of pieces of pre-work we need to do. So step one, in terms of pre-work, we need to link the campaign manager and DV360 advertiser account. So as mentioned, Studio must be linked to the creative assets and to your CM platform for ad serving. So let's do that. So here we go. We are at the campaign manager advertiser account. So we go to the association and make sure that the association with the Studio account is already linked. And then for step two, we want to make sure that the campaign manager with the DV360 advertiser is linked as well, so that in the future, after the creative is being pushed over to campaign manager, it can also sync over to DV360 for programmatic media buying. So let's go to the DV360 account and let's see if it is linked. So under this basic details level, I see that the campaign manager account is already linked with my DV360. And so we are great to go to the next step, which is to the data feed building. So after you have agreed with your agencies, your creative team on the digital brief on what you want to achieve, the project manager should actually build up the data feed. So the data feed is the things that to control the creative variance, to the content, and to define what kind of things that you want to make it dynamic. So in here, you can see there are a few parts. We have the reporting part, the ID. We have the target part. So just now we've mentioned that the dynamic strategy is based on the DV line ID and the geocode. So you can see that we can actually put that into the data feed for binding. And we have defined a few things for the dynamic elements. So we have the headline. We can also control the headline font size, the color of it, other elements like the price font sizes, the color, the CTA button, the background color of it, the size of it, the text size of it. And of course, we can control the background images and the logo URL, whether we want to change it to other color because of the dark color, or we can put in the exit URL. And lastly, we have a group of columns to let us do the reporting, so that we can actually see how each of the combination of the headline of the CTA will actually work, and we can actually analyze it in the campaign. So right now we can actually pan over to see that, oh, some of the column actually is a bit different because we actually put in the inline CSS in there. So this is something that the DV360 cannot do because this does not support the HTML5 or coding or CSS elements. So this actually gives you the flexibility in here to control more things that you want to meet with your brand guidelines. Okay, so after you have done that, I think we are good to go to create the Studio profile for it. So let me go to the Studio account. Okay, so this is the Studio UI. As you can see, the dashboard is really clean. We only got a few tabs for you to upload your creative, upload your assets over here. So this is the place where we will upload our logo, your background images over here. And then we can create our dynamic content. Apologies, just plugged in, my laptop is running out of battery. So disappear for 2 seconds. Okay, so let me go back to the, okay, let me go back to the screen over here. Okay, so I have created the advertiser for my Studio profile, and I've created this Studio.
Apologies, Lisa, to interrupt. Just share your screen again.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Okay. So sorry about that for the interruption. Yeah, so yeah, where were we? So we are at the studio profile. So this is the place where you can connect your data feed and your creative over here. So let's go to the step 1, the profile. You can set a name for it. And you can go to the step 2 to manage your data, to link up your data feed, just now that one that we created, to this profile. And then we can go on to manage the rules. You can decide how you want to rotate your variants and how you want to filter your variants and what kind of rules that you want that particular variants to serve, or like how different group of variants can be rotated. Is it based on your performance or you want to do it randomly? And going to the step 4, and this is the step where we need to think about or you need to talk to your creative agency to build that dynamic creative. So it is not necessary to use the GWD to build your creative. You can also use the HTML5 code if your creative agency is really good at that in hard coding, then feel free to do so. But for this demo, for this Blue Wave sportswear, I think I will just use a GW to show you like how the linking is being done. So I've already built up a creative from scratch according to the Blue Wave sportswear brand guidelines. So they want to have the logo on the left top corner and the text in the middle with the background images and with the price from this price over here and the CTA in the middle. So all the elements are defined over here. So in order to make it dynamic, we have to do a data schema. So this is a place where we can connect this GWD elements, like the headline, like the tab area, or the CTA text, or the background images to your data schema object, which is your data feed. So the data feed columns, remember that we have done so many to define different headline, color, the text, font sizes, all that. So we can just connect them together with the element attribute. So we can define it whether this element is a source, or is a font size, or is a font color. So after you have defined everything that you want to make it dynamic and changes in the back end on your data feed, and you are good to go to publish it directly to Studio. So it will connect it to your account, and it will load the setting, and all you need to do is find your right account. It's taking some time to load. I guess you guys get the idea that you have to connect it back to the Studio account, your campaign, and create this creative, and so that it can push over to the profile that you are working on right now. So after this is done, you can actually go on to the preview mode already. So in general, there are two ways for you to visualize your creative. So I can do it by the preview, where I can select different roles of the creative to see how it actually looks like based on my data feed setup. And I can see that role number 3 is actually for the Indonesian one. So the price, the everything will be according to my data feed setup. If I don't like it, I can just go to the data feed to change it immediately, and the Studio will update your changes in real time. Or another way, I can generate a preview sheet, which I'm going to open in here. So you can see all your variants at once. So even though you have 300 or 400 or even thousands of variants creative, you can still preview it at once in here. Or you can do a way that more convenient to you. You can segment by your language or segment by your different themes. So it's really up to you, and very easy to share with your client for approval as well. So after you're happy with your creative, and we can go on to the step 6, which is the reporting dimensions. As mentioned, actually it's a data feed. We have some reporting columns. So that is the place where you can add those kind of columns in as a dimension to report in CM. And you can see how different combination of the headline, price, or the geo will actually work. And so you can decide on how you're going to optimize your campaign. And finally, you can click Publish to find a review on your setup and publish it over to DV360 and for QA. So after that is being sent over, usually would take a day, and then you will be able to see the creative in your CM account. And of course, if you want to buy programmatically in DV360, all you need to do is to traffic that in CM, and it will automatically send over back to the DV360 account under the creative section. Okay, so actually activating a DDC in Studio is not that hard, it seems, but it can be very flexible and complex based on your needs. Okay, so let me go back to my presentation. Okay, so you may wonder from the demo, how exactly can you get started with it? What kind of steps I need to take to get this done? So from the demonstration, I think you kind of understand, like how many agencies that needs to be involved to work together as a single team to get this done. So these agencies and players involved may include your brand. So who create, to plan, to measure, and manage the branding strategies. You can have your media agency who creates the strategic media plan, ensures that the marketing messages appear to the right customers, appears in the right place at the right time. And of course, you will have your creative agency to design your creative and the banners. And finally, you can involve a production agency who specialize in creating the DDC, where they have a team of developers to handle a complex coding, a tech lead, and a project manager to ensure that your data-driven creative project is on the right track. And so we introduced you this 5-phase process that will definitely help you marketers to adapt the data-driven for your campaigns. So phase 1, you may gather your insights from all your data sources available. Think about where you can gather all these kind of insights from what kind of channels to build that kind of segmentation strategy. Identify where you want to engage your customers and your prospects. And phase 2, you can collaborate on a digital brief and align with all the agencies. So this is the part where you can discuss with them and ask these kind of questions like, who is your target audiences and what are your initial thoughts on the segmentations? What signals can be used to reach and segment your audiences? What kind of platform do you intend to target? What kind of formats you're planning to actually run? Is it display, mobile, video, etc.? And after you guys have agreed on the digital brief, and then you can pass it on to the creative agency to design and to develop it. So by then, you should actually let them know your decision on which element of the creative will change based on the data signals and design on your creative template. So once the concept, the messaging, tactics, and the visual assets are approved, then you can start building your HTML5 creative. And then going to the phase 4, which is QA, traffic, and launch. So this is the phase where you can start your campaign in ad server already. You can start your programmatic buying platform campaigns, and you can schedule the report. So you will send the dynamic creative to the agency for QA. So all the agencies should work together to quality check on that, to test the creative functionality, to ensure that the data actually triggers in the right place, and ensure that the creative is approved before you actually put in budget in it. And you can do a soft launch. So before you set the full budget to live, you can run a small test on the budget and pull the report to see if everything is working fine and is reporting correctly. And phase 5 is you can learn and optimize from your results. So you can keep learning and take account for all the metrics for your optimization and make sure that your data is reliable, and you can investigate if anything that seems too good to be true. And you can go on to phase 1 and phase 2 you can launch another set of creative and you can optimize your campaign from there. So here comes the end of the demonstration for the studio part. So thank you everyone for being alive after an hour time. So hopefully this demonstration have given you an opportunity to think about like how to kickstart with data-driven creative, and through the bespoke dynamic creative that engages audiences and inspires actions that will enable you to moving up the data-driven marketing maturity funnel. So now I will hand it back over to Sue.
Hi. Oh, Lisa, you are so funny. Why are you asking everyone if hopefully that they are alive? Of course they're alive.
Yeah.
That's a really bad joke, man, during this pandemic session. Okay, so first of all, forgive us for all of that, bad jokes and whatsoever. Forgive us for the technical difficulties that you might have encountered during this session. So as mentioned, we will be sending across to you the recording, and more importantly, we will be sending across to you the content and the slides from this presentation. So there is something for you to look back on and review. And also, if you want to reach out to us, you can keep in contact with our local managers, because we do understand that this workshop session, there's a lot of info actually to take in with regards to display and video 360, with regards to studio, with regards to Google Web Design, with regards to, what did I miss? Campaign Manager, DV360, etc., etc. In general, there's just a lot of information to take in, as this workshop is meant for those who are more experienced in Google marketing platform. So if you want a deep dive into each of these platforms, if you want someone to do a proper presentation to you one-on-one, just let us know and we'll be in contact with you. Don't go yet though, don't go leaving yet, because now is the Q&A session. I note that we currently don't have any questions in the chat box, but just an open floor. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I have a quick question. So we are a marketing agency. So we propose solution and marketing strategy to clients. And one of the questions that we get all the time is that whenever we propose, let's say DV360 to the clients, we always get compared to Facebook and GDN. Now I understand that from the feature point of view, there's a lot of things that we can do with DV360. It has its own unique features, but from a purely performance point of view, from the client side, a lot of the time you get better performance from Facebook and GDN simply because the cost is much more efficient on that side. Considering third-party data, considering platform fee, it is very hard for DV360 to outperform performance when compared to the other two platforms, which I understand is not fair. But I'm just asking if you have any recommendation or if there's any angle that you would like to shed light for us so that we can help communicate those angles to the clients. Thank you.
Okay, so this is actually a very broad and very popular question, where when we are talking about the demand-side platform DV360, one of the common questions that is always addressed back to us is with regards to running a performance campaign in DV360 and comparing that against performance campaigns in other platforms like Facebook and Google Ads. Like you mentioned, Yupana, I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. So like you mentioned, there's no really right and wrong answer to this sort of question. It would really depend on your campaign type, the vertical of your client, realistically also your budget, and also the how experienced is your team in running a programmatic campaign. So there's all sorts of different layers of information that I would actually need from you before I can answer this question. So I can have my local manager, Belle, to be in contact with you and to talk further about display and video 360 with respect to a certain brief that you might have, or if you're considering DV360 for a client. So we can review that for you, and then we can objectively let you know via which media platform you're going to be getting a better performance results. Because honestly speaking, there's no right and wrong answer to this. It's really dependent on the brief, the budget, and the client. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, any other questions? Open floor. Now is the best time, otherwise there's a fee to all of this. We have our two experienced tech people in the room. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so I'm going to treat it that there are no more questions. So let me just proceed to the official closing notes. So before you officially exit this party, I hope there are a few things that you could recollect by the end of this session. The first being that, consider that as a modern marketer in the year of 2020, consider that data-driven marketing is actually crucial, and it is validated by studies. So whether you are an agency or whether you are a brand, it doesn't really matter. All parties should consider working together, looking at your framework and design within your framework how to implement data. Naturally, this is going to take time, and it's going to be evolving you through many different phases depending on your budget and your own resource and capabilities and whatnot. So end of the day, do consider to implement data-driven marketing, and do consider how to implement that within your current framework or beyond your framework should you invest further into it. So I noticed there is a second question by Jaras. If our client would like to run rich media campaign and placement is the only direct buy to some web publisher, what is the solution that we have to use? Is it Studio plus DV360 or Studio plus Campaign Manager? So let me just read that again. You're going to run a rich media campaign. Okay, so in general, right, if you have a campaign that utilizes rich media, you're going to be requiring, it's to be advised if you really need Studio, it would really depend on your creative type. But you can definitely use Display and Video 360, but you definitely have to use a third-party ad serving solution that is Campaign Manager, because when you want to ad serve, when you want to run campaigns in DV360 that make use of rich media, you will definitely need a Campaign Manager. And pardon me, if it's rich media, then you also definitely need Studio. Lisa, could you double check me on that? Hello, Lisa.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, you're right.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So in a nutshell, if it's a rich media campaign and you want to run it in DV360, the three solutions that you're going to be needing is Campaign Manager for ad serving, Studio to implement any rich media or to upload the rich media, and what did I miss? DV360, which is the demand side platform. So correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa.
That's
yeah,
right.
okay. Well, I passed. Okay. Did I answer your question, Jaras? Do you want to elaborate further? Okay, cool. Can DV360 track online to offline conversion? Oh, wow, Lisa, this is a very popular question. Ultimate question. Cookie for you, Jaras. Yeah, so Lisa, what is the answer to this?
Yeah, we cannot track the offline to online conversions, but we can use another solution to do that with CM platform that we can do that. So if you want to know more about how we actually can do that in GMP, feel free to reach out to us, and also can reach out to you and tell you more about it.
Lisa's passing on the buck to me. Okay. Any other questions? So feel free to input. We still have about a bit more time. No? Some of our clients are here. Really? You guys don't want to ask existing clients or keeping quiet? They're like sick of hearing us. It's like, no. No? Okay. So I'm going to proceed on to, yes.
Maybe give them some time to type it.
Okay. For GIF banners, do we also need studio? In example, simple GIFs. So for Gush, for Kenneth, should I have said Gush? For Kenneth, who is in a certain brand, very well known in Singapore, Lisa, does he need studio in the framework? If let's say he's going to be using GIF or kind of stuffing, I'm sorry, Kenneth.
No, you don't need to use Studio. You can just use the GIF banners in DV360 or in CM directly.
Okay. We got that, Kenneth? Okay. One more minute to see if there are any other questions.
Don't be shy.
So now Lisa's happy. Lisa is happy, Ramil's happy because the presentation is done. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so I'm going to proceed to closing note number 2. Let me see if it still works. Okay, closing note number 2. No matter if you are a brand, no matter if you are an agency, consider investing in platforms that are multifunctional, example like display and video 360, because it allows you for collaboration between different sets of teams. It also allows you to not just develop programmatic campaigns and buy media, but you can also, inside the platform itself, easily build creatives which are data-driven. So this kind of platforms like DV360 does not require you to have in-depth developer skills. So I hope that was something that came across quite clearly to you when Ramil was doing his demo. You don't need to have coding skills or whatsoever. It's like drag and drop functions overall. And then last closing note, where relevant, if let's say you are advancing, if you have the resource, if you are working with a tech partner, like FiveStones, consider developing bespoke data-driven creatives, as you're nearly towards the end of the pinnacle stage, which is the multi-moment stage. Because when you create bespoke data-driven creatives, it gives you more authority to create ads that can serve to your end customer and user with the right message at the right time. Did I say the right message? Yes, and to the right customer, obviously. So in general, that is what I hope you can take away with regards to the last demo session. If you have the capabilities, if you have an existing team member who is a developer, you want to know how to invest in studio, in campaign manager, etc., just keep in contact with us. We do have training options in place to train up your existing team so that you can develop your own bespoke data-driven creatives. If you don't want to go that route though, FiveStones does have creative capabilities, and we are also a GMP full stack sales partner. So we know how everything works. We know how to work with you based on the case studies that Lisa has shown to you. So definitely a wealth of experience there. And then mini last point is that in the long run, as echoed a lot of times, do consider that when you develop creatives that are data-driven, what you should be achieving theoretically is better ROI and savings with regards to development costs. So that is some of the things that I hope you guys can take away from this session. Save time and save money, reduce inefficiencies in your workflows between brands, marketers, and different teams. So this is the end of our session. So thank you everyone for attending. I hope everyone will stay safe at the end of this session. Again, please note that the content and the recording of this will be sent to all attendees by the end of today or by early tomorrow. we do have a feedback form. I hope you will fill it in, as it will give us a better understanding of what we can do better for our next workshop session, what we can present on, and things like that. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Ronan.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.